So every day, you're basically helping athletes become their best, right? So are there any, mindset tips, tenacity tips, anything you can share with our audience? Like, we specifically talk to Gen Xers, and as a Gen X female, I can tell you that I was very good at my fitness and health regime until 2020, and it's been a juggle since then. So, what do you feel are kind of the keys to consistency and being committed?
Yeah, consistency is the key,
Okay.
because sometimes, you don't feel like working out, but if you
Yep.
just take the steps and do what you can at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and this goes back to, I wrote this down. I talked to a neuroscientist one time and I said, how do you define mental toughness?
Yep.
And people want to throw that around all the time in sports, but it's everywhere. So what is mental toughness? And then people can't define it. But what she defined it and how she defined it was mental toughness is the ability to try your best, fail, and forgive yourself
I
and do
like it.
better the next day. And that's toughness. That's persistence. That's just keep on going in the route that you're going, and let's just
Yeah.
forge ahead. So the ability to forgive yourself and not Google has I think on the wall when you walk into Google it says done is better than perfect. So I
Mm-hmm.
think people need to realize that you have to it's not going to be perfect and you have to just keep forging forward.
I like it because I don't know if the tech industry still uses this term, but from a couple of years ago, they would talk about just ship the code, which meant like, we got to get it out there. We can do the bug fixes later. We can fix all that. Let's just get it out there. And I share with my team a lot like, okay, let's ship the code. Like, it's time to go. Let's get it out. So I
Yeah.
love this done is better than perfect. And going back to self forgiveness, this is interesting that you bring that up to mental toughness because it's one of the core values that I help our clients with because I feel like it's so needed in today's world. And so many equate like self forgiveness and self love to weakness. And I love that you've said, okay, mental toughness is actually forgiving yourself. So I'd really like to talk about that more. But do you work with your athletes on this concept, or do you have a practice yourself to help you forgive yourself?
Yesterday I was talking with the women about recovery and not just physical recovery, which is important in sport, and in life, but about mental stress recovery. So do you
Yep.
meditate? Do you take time to be like, what was that? And does it really matter in the grand scheme of things that I'm fretting over it? So how do you do the mental emotional recovery parts of when you're stressed? Stress is good. Stress is a
Mm-hmm.
really great thing physically, mentally, emotionally. Environmental stresses are great, but can you stress yourself and then recover from it? And that's where the consistency part comes in because you should stress yourself every day in some form. And I think where people get in trouble is when they're not consistent because I study force production and how force production changes daily. Some days you get out of bed and you're like, let's go attack the world. And then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh, well, okay, we can't operate like that. We need to find a place in between and consistently build on where we are daily because your behaviors are going to determine, what the outcome is.